Imagine playing a game where you were unable to turn on sound. You would walk around clueless with danger right behind you. Okay, now imagine the same situation, but this time the game has visual cues that tell you what is happening. In this video, I want to talk about how games can provide captions or visual cues to help visualizing sound, and what and how I did it in my game, Enigmarble. Hi, I'm making a puzzle game called Enigmarble. Play through 80 plus levels that will test your wits, reflexes, and problem-solving abilities. It's planned to be released early 2024 and is available for wishlisting on Steam right now. So, why am I bothering with making sure my game is accessible for deaf or hard of hearing people? Well, I happen to be born deaf. I have got cochlear implants and can hear and talk, but my hearing is nowhere near normal hearing, so I depend on captions everywhere, including in games. Most modern games, especially RPG and dialogue-heavy games, include captions for most, if not all, dialogue. Unfortunately, not all games are playable for deaf of hard of hearing people. Some types of games are difficult to make accessible, such as games where you listen for footsteps, doing stealthy sneaking, or team games that relies on TeamSpeak or similar to talk to your teammates. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, and each game requires a tailored approach. Enigmarble is a 2D puzzle game with no dialogue at all, nor teammates you need to talk with. There are some sneaking, but nothing that depends on sound. The game is filled with interactive blocks that often trigger something happening off-screen. There will be a sound accompanying the off-screen event, but if you can't hear well, you would have no idea which direction to go to. So in my game, I have added captions with arrows showing the direction of the sound. This is definitely inspired from one of my favorite games, Minecraft. So let's take a quick look at how I implemented this in Enigmarble. I have created a scriptable object called Sound and Captions. I then create assets of this for each sound effect and an optional caption. I can then attach the scriptable object asset to interactive game objects. Each interactive block will at the right time call the function play in the asset. The function will simply play the sound, and if a caption is defined, it will invoke an event with that message. Because I have localized my game, I fetch the translated string based on the translation ID. Watch the previous video on my channel for more information about localization. I also have a conditional whether or not the sound should include a directional arrow. When you pick up a pickup, by moving over them, you don't need to know the direction. Also, not every single sound needs a caption, in my opinion. Going back to Minecraft, this game captions every single sound. Lava popping, water flowing, items plopping, villagers grunting, squids swimming, players' footsteps. At least for someone like me who can hear most of the sounds, this is a bit overkill. Especially because the important ones becomes hidden in the sea of other captions. So I've done a personal consideration and decided which ones should have caption and which ones should not. I use the observer pattern in my games, which means I invoke events, and other classes subscribes to these events. In my UI, I have a class that listens to the events invoked in the scriptable object asset, and will instantiate a new caption from a prefab. With the help of Unity's layout component, every instantiated child will be stacked nicely on top of each other. Each caption item has a coroutine that will fade them out after some time, and then destroy itself. I do, however, have some logic that will reactivate the captions. In some levels there are a lot of sounds happening at the same time, and I wanted to avoid spamming the same caption over and over again. So, if a caption with the same text and direction happens, while there is already one active or fading out, we will reactivate the existing one instead of creating a new one. If you're curious about how I solved the directional arrows, it's pretty simple. It may not be common knowledge, but TextMesh Pro supports adding custom sprites. So I have a small sprite sheet with 4 arrows, and I made a sprite asset out of this. Then all that's left is calculating the closest direction out of the 4 cardinal directions of the original game object, relative to the player. Since you've stayed this long into the video, I'll let you in on a small secret. In some levels, using the captions becomes a little bit of a superpower. That wraps it up for today's video. Thanks for watching, and share your thoughts or experiences in the comments.